And there it is, the sound we have been waiting for to bring us back from break. Welcome back to WoW Time, where we are discussing the Subtlety Rogue, and we are entering our Battleground to begin our disruption mission. And we are going to start our disruption mission by doing tons and tons and tons of damage to disrupt every single target possible. Hello, K Tord, who is in chat, and as always, this is recorded live at Twitch TV-Darkslayer TV, so feel free to go there if you'd ever like to watch the show live. Anyways, let's hop over to our Battleground. I always choose this Battleground for my guides, so that way I can passively do the objective while showing you guys just exactly what you should be doing with whatever subject we happen to be covering. And today, of course, is the Subtlety Rogue. Our entire purpose this game, after I turn the sounds and music back on, is going to be using our damage to disrupt people to stop them doing from what they should be doing. Now, this is surprisingly easy. As I was saying earlier, if you damage someone with a ton of damage, their immediate #1 priority becomes survival, figuring out where that damage is coming from and trying to negate it. Especially if you're doing your rotation efficient enough that they're taking so much damage they could potentially die. That's one of the cool things about Subtlety Rogue, is our burst damage is high enough that if we're efficient enough and maybe just a little help from friends, we can pretty much kill a lot of targets rather quickly. Now, with a healer in the area and good use of defensive cooldowns, this is pretty difficult to do, but it's completely plausible. So 10 seconds here before we start our mission. And just to restate, our mission is to disrupt people from doing what they're supposed to be doing with massive damage. So let's go ahead and go out. So we're not actually going to enter stealth for a fair bit here. Obviously, we want to get to the center here before we enter stealth. And since we want to disrupt our target from doing what it's supposed to be doing, we're going to be using our damage to actually protect our orb carriers, or we can use it to also kill their orb carriers. So we're going to go ahead and go stealth, and we're going to go ahead and start walking into the center of the ring here. For two reasons. One, I kind of want my allies to jump in, but two, because our targets are over here. So we're going to go ahead and try to get into a position that as soon as we need to strike, we can. As you can see, the Alliance and the Horde are kind of in a stalemate right at the moment. We're not quite sure who wants to take the position. However, this person's taking damage and they're stunned, so we're going to show up. We're going to start using our Shadow Strike. We're going to immediately put the Shadow Blade on him, build up to 5 more points, start using Eviscerate. And look, he's not even attacking the other target anymore. He's seen that we were doing damage to him, and he immediately switched to us. So we're actually taking a lot of damage, so we're going to Cloak of Shadows and Vanish. So it's used as a defensive tool to, 1, get away, and 2, now we can re-pop on a target with Shadow Strike and get all that amazing damage back. So we have a mage over here that looks like he's about to be hexed, so we can't really do much for him. We do have this guy, Flash of Lighting, and we don't want that, so once again we're going to come in here. We're going to start attacking him. However, he did bubble, unfortunately, so we are going to go ahead and try to get out of this situation, but I don't think they're going to let us. So instead, what we're going to do, actually, we might get away with stealthing again. Just kind of stay away from everyone right at the moment. And now we can stealth. And now we're going to go for this Warlock right here. Wait, why am I in a stealth? Ah, that's my bad. There we go. Oh, it's because I have a dot on me, and I've already used Cloak of Shadows. So this is what I was talking about earlier in the guide, is if you're used to playing the Subtlety Rogue, it's important to use your Cloak of Shadows only if you have a dot. I'm pretty sure the Paladin had put a dot on me, but I have to be honest with you, I usually use Cloak of Shadows before Vanish, regardless of the situation. And as you can see, it got me killed. If I would have known I had a dot, I could have Cloak of Shadowed before returning back to Cloak, and we would have been just fine re-popping on the guy with the orb. So let's head back in and let's figure out some more targets that we can either kill or disrupt. And I think we need to go back here onto this Warlock. He does have a feral druid right next to him, though, which could cause problems. However, they are kind of distracted right now, so we're going to go ahead and hop in here and start doing our damage. I'm going to do the same rotation I've been doing. Now, I am fighting multiple targets here, so I did go down rather quick. Whenever we pull our stuns out, you'll see that we'll be able to control group fights a little bit better like that. I think that was just a poor decision on my end to engage that many players. Honestly, the disruption method that I'm trying to teach hasn't really presented itself in a significant way so far, except against that first paladin. So I'm going to take a little bit more time choosing a target here, so we can really see what it is that I'm talking about. So our ally's in trouble here, but there's 3 targets, so I don't think we can do much about it. The Alliance owns most of the middle of the map right now, so instead we're going to try to protect this person with the orb. We have a paladin over here, and we're not really going to disrupt him. We are mostly just going to try to do damage to this guy, but fortunately for us, that's the exact same thing. Disrupting and doing damage is exactly the same. He did bubble, so we're going to go ahead and leave him alone and try to re-enter stealth as soon as we're out of combat here. Oh, we might not get out of combat. There's a lot happening around us. So I'm trying to do damage here, but as you can see, the Alliance is pretty much dominating us right now. So that is something to note about the Subtlety Rogue, is if you realize that it feels like you're not doing very much, there is a high chance it is because you're losing the Battleground. Subtlety Rogues definitely rely on their partners a lot. And that's an important lesson, because Subtlety Rogues, as I said previously, have the capability of bursting a target down, but whenever the enemy is using well-timed defensive cooldowns and there's a healer near, it's going to be near impossible to actually kill anybody as the Subtlety Rogue. So, at that point, your job is to then use stuns and control the group fight. However, if your group is performing poorly as well, it's going to cause a situation where you can't do very much. However, I think I did find the opening that I've been looking for here on this target, and we might actually be able to get the kill. We'll have to see. Looks like they may get away. We're going to try to use our Cloak of Shadows and vanish so we can re-pop. And there we go. And we might be able to get the kill. So you can see how much damage I do. Of course, I am being benefited by how long that player has been carrying the orb, and it still took a fair amount of time to kill him. So we need to learn how to handle a situation with our damage whenever our team is performing poorly. And I think I just found one of those situations. Try to find those players that are off by themselves and try to take the 1v1. You can pretty much 1v1 most classes by yourself as the Subtlety Rogue, except for Frost Mages and Monks. Never 1v1 a monk. That's going to be my new show motto. Never 1v1 a monk ever, no matter what class you are or spec. It's not going to end well. So let's go ahead and evaluate the situation from stealth. We can see that our allies are being significantly overwhelmed here. So our contribution isn't going to be that great. We do have a healer up here. It's casting Flash of Light though, which does leave us in a situation where we can actually attack the target and do significant damage without his friend supporting him. And we almost secured the kill before he was able to get back to his friends, but unfortunately we did not get it. We have to keep trying. We need to keep finding those situations, those openings where we are going to be able to disrupt and do as much as we possibly can. I'm kind of enjoying the fact we're losing the Battleground. While I can't show you the strengths of the Rogue while we're losing the Battleground, I can show you how to assess situations better. And the advanced guide of the Subtlety Rogue is nothing but assessing situations. So he's almost taking no heals at all anymore, and that hunter is the only one really watching him. Let's see if we can wait for him to get off by himself, like right about now. And we might be able to just take him out without Shadow Blade. Ah, no, the stuns. Ah, we almost got him. Ah, we took him down. There we go. We are going to die for it, but we had some fun. We did die, but that's okay. It was all in good fun. As I was saying previously, the Subtlety Rogue is all about assessing the situation as well. You know, when do you use your stuns, when do you use your damage. But of course, this is the basic guide, so I'm not going to get too much into that. We are frozen in a hunter trap right now. He didn't actually kill us or attack us, so that is beneficial. So right now, when you see me assessing the situation, oh no, he got me, and then he burned me. That's kind of my fault for approaching a fire mage the way that I did. That's okay. He might actually get us. I was going to come try to attack this. And the Alliance won. Unfortunate. However, you can see how complex playing a rogue can actually be, which is why making this beginner guide was quite difficult, if I'm completely honest. I had to decide what to teach you guys without being able to present every situation imaginable, but that Battleground went pretty well considering we were losing, and I could kind of show you the different situations you might be in. However, I think it's time we add stuns to our arsenal. Let's go ahead and switch back over to the game, and I'm going to open up the spell book. We are going to grab 4 different spells. We are going to grab Blind, which don't worry about where I put it on my hotbar. This is completely irrelevant. You can put it wherever you like it. I'm just putting it where I prefer. We're going to grab Blind. We are going to grab Cheap Shot, which requires stealth. So we're going to put Cheap Shot on C. And the reason we're going to put it on C is because when we come out of stealth, I am going to place Kidney Shot on C as well. So the reason that I do this is because just like I want to make both my hotbars exactly the same, just in case the situation arises where I need to use an ability in or out of stealth, whenever we use Cheap Shot in stealth, it'll be C, but if we also want to stun when we're not stealth, it'll also be C. It just simplifies things and makes your brain have to work less, which, believe me, we all need that. And the last thing we're going to grab here, we're also going to re-enter stealth, and we're going to grab Sap. Oh man, so what do all these new creepy abilities do? What do we have to learn? Well, don't worry, it's not too complicated. I'm actually going to go ahead and enter in queue for this BG, so that way the break won't last as long this time, because queue times are currently 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and go over our skills. Let's start with the one that doesn't require anything. Blind. It blinds the target, causing it to wander disoriented for 1 minute. Damage will interrupt the effect. So blind is fantastic because if there's ever a situation where let's say it's 1 versus 2, you can blind one target for a significant amount of time, so you can bring the 1v1 or you can bring the 2v1 into a 1v1, so that way it's much more in your favor. If you're ever in a battleground, you're not sure who to blind, basically blind whoever your allies are not attacking, because damage will disrupt the effect. So the next one I'll talk about, because it doesn't require stealth, is Kidney Shot. It's a finishing move that stuns the target, and it lasts longer per combo point. So what we're going to be doing is, if we've decided we need to stun instead of damage, we're going to use Kidney Shot as soon as we hit 5 combo points. There might be some situations where you'll have lesser combo points and you might throw out a Kidney Shot, but those are a little bit more niche on the situation and not really meant for the beginner guide. So we're just going to get 5 combo points. If we ever want to stun somebody, we're going to punch them in the kidney. The next and the last 2 spells we are going to talk about is Cheap Shot. Cheap Shot requires a melee weapon, requires stealth, and it stuns the target for 4 seconds, but the also amazing thing about it is it awards 2 combo points. So Cheap Shot can be a fantastic opener if you have a damaging ally. So if you're a rogue and your ally is going to be doing tons of damage, Cheap Shot is perfect for opening. You won't be able to use Shadow Strike one more time, but they will be stunned for 4 seconds, giving your ally even more time to do damage to the target before they can react. So Cheap Shot is it's disruption. It's a stun. However, I wouldn't open with it if you're trying to do as much damage as possible. I would open with it if you've got an ally who's trying to do as much damage as possible. And the last spell I want to talk about is Sap. It incapacitates a target not in combat for 1 minute. Now, the important thing to note about that is it specifically says not in combat. So Sap is a little difficult to use, especially in Battlegrounds where combat is happening pretty much all the time. However, if combat hasn't quite started between 2 groups of people, Sap is fantastic. Sap lasts for, I don't remember how long exactly. I think it's 8 seconds, which is a significant amount of time in player versus player. And it's important to try to balance when you use Sap versus when combat starts. If you can use Sap right before combat starts, then the target will be stunned for 8 seconds of combat unless they trinket it, which no one in their right mind should ever trinket as Sap, because there's going to be tons of other stuns coming in, and Sap usually happens at the very beginning of a fight before anyone's in lethal range. I hope that wasn't too complicated for the beginner guide, but basically use Sap right before combat starts for maximum effectiveness, and also damage does break it. So use Sap on someone who isn't going to be the target right before combat starts. I know it sounds like a lot, but for the beginner guide, if you have to, just Sap somebody. It's fun. And as Sap's about to disappear, fucking Sap them again so they have to sit there and deal with it. It's fantastic. And you know they're just sitting there mad as hell, so it's great. So those are the stuns. I'm going to go ahead and send us over to a break. I've been in queue for about 5 minutes, which means break should last about 5 minutes. And when we come back, we're going to do another Battleground, but this time we're going to be using our stuns along with our damage. And I'll see you there. Break time! Ah!